Cameraman Wes, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing. How are you?
I am swell. Absolutely swell. You know what I'm doing today?
Sitting back and smoking a stogie.
You know, it was like 90 degrees today, very hot.
Mm-hmm.
I am ready for the cooler weather to come in, and
This weekend's going to be nice.
weekend's going to be beautiful. Nice weather. I mean, it's going to get down to 43. I'm going to have to cover my pepper plants
Right.
Saturday night. It's
Yeah.
supposed to drop down to like 43 degrees, and it's like,
Yep.
oh crap. Did you know you can actually have a frost at 43 degrees?
I heard him saying something on the news about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of us getting a frost at 43 degrees.
Yeah, you can still get a frost early in the low 40s.
That's weird.
So, yeah, it's gonna be a fantastic week. I mean, today was very hot, so I'm glad to be inside the air-conditioned building. I'm
Right.
glad to be able to have an ice cold beverage. I normally, it's earlier in the day. I generally stick with soda a lot of times, or maybe
Yeah.
just a splash of Eagle Rare.
Right.
I am drinking, and I'm only drinking a light beer, but it's still, I'm just drinking a light beer. But I am smoking the Punch cigar. And I never know what this one's actually called, because it's very hard to find this particular one.
Yeah.
There's a brick and mortar shop here in town that sells these. First time I tried it, I was like, and now Punch has been around forever. It's one of the
Yeah.
oldest cigar companies in the world. And first time I tried it, I was like, dang, that's a pretty darn good cigar. I think they'll tell you that it's medium to full, but it's really more, I would say medium, maybe medium plus.
Yeah.
But it's just a really, really good cigar. Construction's always been really good on them. They always have a good draw. As you know, I was actually going to smoke a different cigar tonight. And I have a tendency to use the V-cut.
Yep.
Gives you a little bit better draw, and I couldn't draw anything. And then I
Very
did
weird.
a guillotine cut on top of that, so I took the rest of the cap off with, the exception of the shoulder there. Still, could not draw anything. And I don't have my perfect draw out here, so I can't ream it out in order
Right.
to smoke it. So I just put it back in the humidor and grabbed one of these Reliable Punch, because they are that's exactly what they are. They are a very reliable cigar.
Yeah.
They always burn good. They always taste good. They always draw good. It's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, it just simply says Punch on there.
I think that one's called the Magnum.
Yeah, and I didn't know if Magnum was just the size or what. I don't know, but it is. What did we say this thing was? Now it's a Connecticut broadleaf. I think it's the Oscuro wrapper. Another Connecticut broadleaf binder,
Yeah.
and that's where you kind of get that plus, because those are two pretty strong
Right.
leaves. And then the fillers, Dominican, Honduran, and Nicaraguan. So it's got a combination of fillers in there, but you get double the Connecticut broadleaf on there, and so therefore it doesn't have that typical Connecticut wrapper where it looks like, you know what I mean, that Connecticut broadleaf. It's a little more veiny. It's darker, veinier, and it definitely has a little more kick to it.
Yeah, because generally when you see the Connecticut, you think of all the lighter colored cigars.
Right.
So in your mind, you think, okay, this is going to be, smooth, mellow. It's not going to have much of a bite to it. But I've had a few Connecticut's that it's like, what?
It is a general rule of thumb. If it's a darker cigar, a lot of times it is going to be a little stronger. But that's just a general rule of thumb.
Right.
Because there are some Maduros that are very mild.
Yeah.
The Ashton, I believe I smoked it on one of these podcasts. It's the Ashton Aged Maduro. It's a very mellow cigar.
Right.
Very mellow cigar. And as dark can be, and it's a Maduro through and through. But so anyway, that's the Punch is one of my. It's just kind of a go-to. Now it's not cheap, but it doesn't break the bank. I think if I go to the brick and mortar, I'm buying these probably $12, $14 for a cigar. Somewhere in that area.
Not bad.
And it seems like anything I smoke anymore is generally between that $10 to $15 range. These all used to be that $8 to $12 range. Well,
Yeah.
now because of all the prices increasing and everything else, it's yeah.
Sounds
So what do you got going on?
Sounds like we need to invest in a tobacco farm.
Too many rules and regulations. I don't have the patience. I'm way too old. I don't have the patience to put up with that BS.
That's funny.
Way too much going on there.
All right.
I didn't get my lip very good. Let me just...
Mine is actually a gift from a person, so I didn't even have to buy this one.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
A Cohiba? Somebody gave you
Cohiba
a
red
50?
dot.
Ah.
I know.
That is actually one of my favorite cigars.
It's been nice. I mean, we just lit it up, but so far, I like it.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite cigars right there. Cohiba is, again, we're smoking two brands that have been around
forever.
You know, we talk about, like, you're a big Drew Estates guy. I like CAO. I like My Father. You know what I mean? These are all brands. Rocky Patel. And we think of them as the older guys now because they all came along in that big boom in the 90s, you know, the mid 90s, when all of a sudden cigars just boomed. But when you go back to Punch and Cohiba, I mean, my God, these are some of the original companies out of Cuba. You know, now they have the New World where they're outside of Cuba. But still, it's these are some old time companies around there. And what is that? That is
the red dot. It's actually I don't think I've ever had a Cameroon wrapper before. It's the first time I've had a Cameroon. But it's got the Indonesian binder and then Dominican fillers.
Okay.
And online they usually rate between 90 to 91.
It's a high rated cigar for sure. For sure. And they're pretty. They're, like I said, I like the Cameroon wrapper. That African wrapper is kind of a little different.
It is different.
I was looking at, and I believe it was CAO is coming out with a brand new cigar. And it's actually going to be fairly affordable. It's not going to break the bank. Similar to the price of what we're smoking right now. But it is, I mean, I think it's almost all African. With the Cameroon wrapper, but then it's got all these other ones from Africa, all the binders and the fillers and everything else. And it's like, I can't wait to try it.
That'd be cool.
I cannot wait to try it because I do like when they mix. You know, I mean, again, here you got fillers from 3 different countries. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get fillers from the same country, but they're from 3 different regions in that country. So you still don't know. You know what I mean? It's like depending on what part of that region. But I do like...
Yeah, because I'm sure when they're growing at different elevations, stuff like that, I'm sure that affects the taste and everything on
the soil compound. You know, are you in the volcanic area? Are you in the, you know what I mean? It all depends. And it's just amazing how much goes into it. Into cigars. Just amazing. What are you pairing it with?
I actually just got cream soda today. I was gonna put some sort of alcohol with it, but I just decided to go just straight cream soda today.
And that's what I should have done too, but I kind of got into, you know, screw it mode. Probably won't get anything else accomplished after this. I'm probably only going to drink 1 beer while I'm here, but that's, for me, you know, and that's, people talk about that all the time. I work with guys, you know, and there's times go out to lunch and you go to a pizza joint or you go somewhere or a wing joint and you have a couple beers with your lunch or whatever, you go back to work. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's just me personally. I generally won't. Generally, when I go to lunch and I'm still working, I'm going back to work, I order soda, water, something like that. I very rarely ever drink beer at lunchtime. And I know, you know, that some of the guys that I was working with, dude, you can drink a beer. You know, we're not going to sit here and get drunk. We're going to have a beer or two with your meal, but that's it. For me, that beer symbolizes clocked out.
You're done for the day.
I am DUN. I'm not doing nothing else productive all day long. That's what a beer means to me.
Right.
Same as my work boots. I get home from work, if I got to cut grass, if I got to do kind of yard work, if I got to do any other jobs around the house, I go straight to the lawnmower, I go straight to the weed eater, I go straight to the chainsaw, whatever it is I got to do. Because when those boots come off, they don't go back on until the next morning.
Right.
So for me, taking my boots off, even the cigar is generally when I'm done working. On occasion, I'll light up an El Cheapo cigar. My short fillers that I pay 85 cents a stick. You know what I mean? They're $1 a stick, $2 a stick. And there are times on the weekend maybe I'll light one up during the middle of the day while I'm out raking or I'm out burning leaves or working in the garden or something. But for the most part, the cigar is the same way, man. It's just a symbol of, you know what? I worked my butt off today, and guess what? I'm going to sit back and I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy a cold beer, or I'm going to enjoy a good cigar. And that's kind of what it is. This would pair better with something other than a light beer. And in all honesty, even just a regular beer, it would actually pair better with this punch. If it was a PBR, PBR would actually pair very well with this right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I find pretty much any cigar seems to go with root beer and cream soda.
Always.
So if I'm smoking, now if I have something specific, I get out the Dr. Pepper coconut that I have in reserve if the world comes to an end. I've got Dr. Pepper coconut. But yeah, for the most part, it's usually cream soda or root beer.
Yeah, during the day I am kind of the same way. And in all honesty, I think it pairs better with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's times in the evening, I'm going to have a cold beer, so I'll have a beer with it. But a lot of times, it pairs much better with a cream soda.
Right. With it being so hot out, making sure you're keeping your beard moisturized.
Yes, I am so happy with Badass Beard Care Company. I just used the last of my Chuck's Hogwash, so I do have to buy another bottle of that. But the beard, it just... even with it being super hot out, to use that Chuck's Hogwash and then add a little oil to it after I'm done, oh my gosh, I am 100% sold on Badass Beard Care. It's not just because they're a sponsor, it's because I absolutely love the product.
Yeah.
Can't imagine not using that anymore.
Right.
It's that good.
They are very good. It's a veteran-owned company. All American made products, and they use high quality products. When you wash your hands after using oil, you don't get that weird, oily, sticky feeling. Yeah, the residue. You don't have any of that left.
Yeah.
Where pretty much every other beard oil will leave that on your hands. Your beard's not all sticky and nasty either.
Right.
I don't know what's going on today. Something's getting me.
So yes, very happy to have Badass Beard Care on board, and hopefully keep them on board for a while.
Yep, check out their Facebook page. They always got deals running, whether it's trial samples for free or some sort of discount on product. They always have deals on their Facebook page. So make sure you check out Badass Beard Care.
All right, man. I know you just did something. Actually, you've gone to a couple different things lately. Yeah. And we've talked about doing some Steel Horse Thunder overnighters, adventure rides, whatever. You and your wife have taken a couple little just one day getaways. Yeah. Where now you did the overnighter down at Mammoth Cave. This is something I did years ago. I used to love going to all the caves, Here in Indiana, you had Marengo Cave. You have Squire Boone Village with the cave there. Right. You have Wyandotte Woods has their caves. You have even Spring Mill State Park. Yeah. I think has a small cave that I think there's actually 2 or 3 caves there. You can do a boat tour though through one of them. And then There's, I think, is it Blue Springs
Yeah, Blue Spring Caverns.
Caverns?
Uh-huh.
You know, I've done all of those, every one of those, and then, you know, I've been to Mammoth Cave. I've been to what is it, Ruby Falls and Lookout Mountain and all that, where you go into that. There's a Raccoon Mountain, Raccoon Cave or whatever, just outside of Chattanooga. But I know I used to love doing those. The Lost Sea.
Yeah.
I did that 40 years ago. Almost 40 years ago. It was during my honeymoon.
Huh.
Got married in 1987.
Yeah.
Still married today to the same person.
Yeah.
That's the cool part. But
You sure it was 87?
no, it was 85. No, as soon as I said it, I realized I screwed up. It was 1985.
It's been a while.
But I do remember going down. We ended up going back, moving to Georgia, and it was like the week after we got married. Our actual honeymoon was in Noblesville, Indiana.
Yeah.
Before there was a town in Noblesville, Indiana, and
That's funny.
yeah, it was a long, long time ago. Whole different world up there. Now it's just Indianapolis.
Right.
Back then it was not. You were in the middle of the country back then.
That's funny.
And but then we took a trip down to Georgia, and we were doing like Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and all that. But we also did a venture out, and so like Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Eagle Rare today is actually made by people that do Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
So they actually bought it. But when it first came out, it was made by Seagram's.
Yeah.
And it was their answer to Wild Turkey 101. Eagle Rare was 101 proof when it first came out. It is no longer that.
Yeah.
It got sold out and then bought out by Buffalo Trace. Now has it. It's only 80 proof now. Tastes totally different. It is not. If you have a bottle of the old Eagle Rare, the original Eagle Rare, it came in the wooden canister and all that. Fantastic. It was made by Seagram's. So we stopped at the Seagram's distillery. Then we also ended up going all the way out to the Lost Sea. Super cool tavern. Love doing that kind of stuff.
I've never heard of that one.
But you guys were able to do Mammoth Cave,
Yeah, we did Mammoth Cave,
and then you guys did
Marengo Cave.
Ringo Cave.
Yep.
And what was your experience like?
It was cool. Growing up, we always went to a lot of the caves here in Indiana and Kentucky. So, like, when we went to Mammoth Cave, I'm like, this is what I remember. We're talking about it, and then we get down there, it's like, oh my. Like, this is not what I remember at all. I think there may have been 3, maybe 4 tours down there at Mammoth Cave. Like, there's like 35 different tours you could take. Some up to 12 hours long. Like, it's crazy. So I'm like, we're gonna go to Marengo Cave. We both happen to have a Sunday off, or Monday off. So I'm like, we'll get up early, we'll get down there. I don't know how much there really is to do there. Last time I was there was 25 years ago, maybe. So we get down there, and it really hasn't grown a whole lot, but it has. So, he's still got, 2 tours of the cave. And the discounted price they give to do both tours, it's like, well, there's no reason to just do one of the other tours. Let's just do them both. It's only like $5 more.
All right.
So we went and did both tours, which was, I want to say the first tour, which is the Dripstone tour. That's longer. I'm thinking it's like an hour to an hour and a half, something like that. And then the Crystal Palace was like 45 minutes. It's much shorter, but the Crystal Palace is much tighter. So you have a little bit more weaving around stuff that you got to do. Dripstone is cool. I mean, you still have all the formations through. Like, Mammoth Cave is amazing because it's just, you walk in and you would think you're in an arena, like like the Hoosier Dome or RCA Dome, something like that, because it's so huge inside there, but you don't have the formations. Now I'm sure if you do some of the adventure ones where you're going into deep parts of the cave, there's probably more formations there. But in the main part of the cave, it's so old, there's just not a whole lot of the really cool, stalactites and all that. So I was like, in Indiana, I remember the other caves, but Marengo Cave always stuck out. I don't know why. But I do remember that it had a lot more formations inside the cave. And the few ones that we got to see at Mammoth Cave, Brandy was like, this is awesome. I was like, okay, we're going to Marengo Cave. The next time we get a chance to go out, we're going to Marengo. Because you're going to love that one. And so, oh, it's still lit. I was worried there. I'm like, I don't know if this thing's still lit. So we get there. And at Mammoth Cave, you really got to reserve online. Because there's so many people. It's still in the top 10 most visited places in North America.
Wow.
So if you don't reserve your tours in advance and you go the day of, you're going to be extremely limited on what you can do.
And that is a national park, correct?
Mammoth Cave is a national park. So that I'm assuming this is why it's free, because I've never been to a national park that was free to get into unless it's on specific days.
Gotcha.
Mammoth Cave is free year-round to get into the park.
Really?
You don't have to pay to just drive into the park.
Huh.
So you can go and do all the trails, all that stuff for free. I think the original entrance of the cave, that one's just a really cheap tour because there's really no tour guide. They've got, I think, there's a couple rangers outside as you're going to the entrance, and there's one in the cave, like towards the end of that. Because you're just going in, walking to a specific point, and walking back out the same way.
Okay.
So when we went, it happened to be a free day, so that tour was free. But then the other tours, of course, cost. And the money that they get for that, number one, is to make sure that the national park itself is free for people to come in and be able to see all the stuff. Which to me, I think that's how every national park should be. Like, they're a national park so that we can go see what our country looked like before we started spreading out and growing cities. But a lot of the money that comes in is for research, because right now 90% of the bat population in Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, I think down to Tennessee, 90% of the population is gone because of a fungus that's going around. It's called white nose.
I've heard of that.
And so, it was weird to go in there and not see any bats at all.
Wow.
They literally they're trying to separate bats to try and actually get them to repopulate, because it's gotten so bad. So a lot of the money that comes in for those tours is going into research and everything to figure out how they can, help with all that.
Gotta have the bats.
Right. Yeah, because
if you don't like
they
mosquitoes,
keep the insects in
if you don't like
control.
mosquitoes, then you want bats.
Yes.
Very important.
So, Marengo Cave, I just ruined it. You know what's about to happen. It's going to fall off of there now.
Now it is. Since you already thumped it.
Oh. There we go. Marengo Cave does not cost to go into the park. So it's, I don't know if it's a state park or not, but it's a national landmark.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I don't even think it's a state park.
I didn't think it was. But it's a national landmark. So it is protected. Well, the land itself is protected.
Okay.
It doesn't cost to drive in. And they've got all kinds of little things around the gift shop or tour building area, whatever you want to call it. And it's grown quite a bit. And they got really nice cabins you can rent. They got a lot of camping space, and the tours were still reasonably priced. And you don't have to you can reserve online if you want, but it's not like you've got thousands of people coming in every single day. So pretty much you can just go there and, you know, request the tour.
I would imagine a holiday weekend, if you went down like Labor Day weekend just passed. I'm sure if you were there on a holiday weekend.
We went on Monday on Labor Day, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and
that is true.
It got busy after we'd been there for about an hour or so, but it wasn't overly busy.
Nice.
But basically, they do tours about every half hour. Once they get enough people, they try to get about, I think they're trying to get 20 to 25 people per tour, which is nice because the main tour we did at Mammoth Cave was 3 buses.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And I think it's what, 80 to 90 people per bus is what they fit in there. It's a normal sized school bus, so I'm pretty sure it's about 80 people.
Normal school bus, 63,
Yeah.
I think.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I was trying to find a sign and I couldn't find a sign because I was trying to guess about how many people were on that tour. There was a lot, and it was fast paced. We were at the end, so it's kind of like a motorcycle ride. You get that rubber band effect, and we ran through that cave for the most part. So that kind of sucked. We probably should have been in the front, so we could have went slower, but. And now it went out.
Now with Marengo. The Marengo Cave is, I'm going to guess about, from Indianapolis, you're looking at probably a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Or in our case, motorcycles, a 2-hour ride, 2.5 maybe. Obviously, there's, on a motorcycle, it's hard to tell because you're not going to just hop on the interstate and run. You know what I mean? You want back roads and everything.
Yeah.
So from Indy, I know, I'm about a half hour south of Indy. I'm about 30 miles south of Indy. So from here, I know I always give myself 2 hours to get there, but it never takes that long.
No. I think it took us, because we're in the pretty much the same area as you guys. I think it was like an hour and 35, hour and 40 minutes. And it's a straight shot from 69 to Bloomington and then 37 straight there.
Yeah.
Now Google took us and said it was a shortcut, and even Marengo has signs saying shortcut. So I went ahead and took it, and that road would be amazing on a motorcycle.
Yes, I've gone that way.
Instead of following 37, you go to the left. And it takes you down an amazing road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I want to get at. First of all, Marengo, it's been, and I know I've been in there, but it was years and years ago. Can a fat man that's claustrophobic still enjoy going into Marengo Cave?
Oh yeah. The Crystal Palace tour, you got a little bit more winding to do in there. There's one part where you have to go in between 2 columns. Because in Indiana, we don't call them pillars because that's what you put your head on.
That's right.
That's literally what they tell you in the tour. But you got to walk between 2 columns, and that's a little, I'd say there was probably 3 people on the tour that had to be
buttered up and squeezed through.
Yeah. But they weren't, it's not like they were touching the columns or anything.
Okay.
So, you turn and just go through. It's not that bad. That's the only spot that would be a tight spot. And they say, you're not supposed to touch anything in the cave because the oil's on our hands. The older gentleman in front of me was touching everything so that he wouldn't fall. I get it, because he didn't want to fall.
Old people are funny that way. They don't think they have to abide by rules anymore when they get old. They think they get to do whatever they want to do. I
didn't say nothing to him, but it was like, you've heard him say at least 4 times, do not touch any of the cave formations.
Touch that column one more time, old man, and I will slap them hands.
But it was really fun. Brandy loved it. She wants to do a one of the boat caves next.
Okay.
So I know Bedford's got the Blue Spring Cavern is in Bedford, which isn't that far. So I think that's probably going to be the next one. They close at the end of October. I'm assuming that's due to the fact that you're on water outside of the cave. So
well, true. Stuff starts freezing.
It's going to start freezing.
Yeah.
You can't get the boats in there.
Yeah.
So they do close at the end of October, probably depending on weather, because you know it can get pretty cold around Halloween here. So
All right.
we had snow flurries last year at Halloween. So.
But I want to. We did. It was actually pretty darn cold.
Yeah.
Back to Maringo. This is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I want to do a steel horse overnighter.
Uh-huh.
How big is their campground? How decent is it on a motorcycle? How accessible is getting in there? I can't remember if it's gravel, if it's
to get off of the road, the main road, and into their parking lot. That is all paved.
It's all blacktop. Okay. Because I was thinking back in the day, that was gravel.
They do have a little parking area that's close to like the cabins. Mm-hmm. I didn't see any of the tent sites because with all the foliage, I couldn't see much past the first set of trees. But they do have designated motorcycle parking there. That's concrete.
Nice.
So and there's signs there that say motorcycle parking, and it's just steps away from the cabins.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
And I'm assuming they close their gates. They have actual gates that swing out at night. So I'm assuming that those gates do close at night.
I went down there. Me and little Miss Cindy.
Yeah.
It was on an anniversary. It was just the two of us. We went down there and did an overnighter down there.
Yeah.
And I think we brought a tent and actually set up a tent because we couldn't afford the $15 a night for the cabin.
Sure, it's probably a lot more than that.
We could splurge and get the $3 camping site for the tent, but we couldn't afford the $15 cabin, which is probably now $115. Probably more than that. But some of them are kind of nice. But when we were there, we did the tour. There was just one gift shop where you bought your tickets to go do the tour and buy whatever you want to buy. That's all they had. And then they even told us, they said, now when we leave, we're going to lock the gate behind us. So if you need anything from the stores or anything like that, you're not going to be able to get out.
So and that explains a few things for me then.
They closed the gate and we were locked in. And nobody else was there. And I'm like, I don't know if I like being here and being responsible for the store. If somebody does something, I'm going to get blamed for it.
Right.
To me, it was the weirdest thing in the world because we were the only ones there.
Yeah.
And it was April, so it was still kind of cool out or whatever, but it was the weirdest thing in the world. It was like we literally have this entire place to ourselves.
That
we can
would
go
be weird.
Anywhere we want to go. It was
so it's literally like camping out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, because there's not a whole lot. Maringo,
there's not a whole lot around there.
Booming metropolis.
No, I think there's a fresh produce building across the street from the caves.
We could see some people over there. There was a store or whatever, and we could see the people that were partying.
Yeah,
they were sitting over there, and you could hear them partying or whatever. But
that's funny. So yeah, now when I was a kid, it was that's all there was. It was just the gift shop where you had to register, you pay for your tour and all that right there. And they've expanded on that building, so now there's a pizza joint connected to the gift shop.
Nice.
So you can have fresh food there. Well, I say fresh food, but you know what I mean.
Fresh
you can go get hot food. And then they had down by the camp area, they had it just said Sweet Shack with the picture of an ice cream cone. So I don't know if they just got snacks, stuff like that in there, and have ice cream inside there. A little camp.
That's probably seasonal, I would imagine. Probably during the summertime.
Looked like another little camp store, probably for firewood and the stuff you would need for when you're camping that you're a lot of people forget.
Right.
You get packed up and get down there, it's like, crap, I don't have forks to do marshmallows.
Right.
So it did look like they had a little store there for that.
Well, and plus firewood. It's not, you can only pack so much on a motorcycle anyway, so you're not going to pack it. If I'm going down to my pickup truck, you better believe it.
The whole bed's full.
25 years at a sawmill, I can bring all the kiln dried firewood I wanted, and you can bring that anywhere because it's kiln dried, so it's not like you have to worry about the ash borer beetle or any of that stuff.
Right.
So my goal is, what I'd really like to do is maybe get about a dozen bikes. I don't know how much camping they have down there, how many cabins they have, or room for tent camping.
Right.
But my whole thought is to be able to run down there, and either run down Saturday morning and run kind of straight there, get set up in your tent, or whatever you're going to camp in, do the tours, go into, close by, well, if there's a pizza joint, we can do pizza there.
Right.
Hopefully we'll have a chase vehicle with us that can put coolers in there. We can have our coolers and have our beers or cocktails or whatever that evening when we're sitting by a fire at the campsite.
Right.
And then Sunday morning get up, if we do all that, Sunday morning get up and do a beautiful ride through southern Indiana before we head back home.
Yeah.
To me, it just sounds like a wonderful,
it would be cool.
A wonderful overnight trip. Now, obviously, Marengo, you don't have to make it an overnight. You can run down there, do everything you want to do at Marengo Cave, and come right back home again. And even that would be a really nice day ride.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, sometimes that extra night, when everybody's just hanging out by a fire and laughing and joking and
that's cool,
and cutting up, I mean, that to me is a lot of times some of the most fun you have on a motorcycle, is when you finally get off and you enjoy the riding, but man, I also enjoy hanging out with everybody.
And they do have if you go online, they have group rates. So if you have 12 or more people, they do discounted tours. You can even do the adventure tours where you have to do crawling and stuff in the cave. Which they said that at Mammoth Cave, and I'm like, I couldn't do it. And then for some reason at Marengo Cave, they were talking about it, and we were in the cave, and it's like, I could try it.
Hey, when I was your age, I was all about that. Not at my age, I ain't.
But I know they do have group rates, so I'm sure you could probably rent the whole campground if you wanted to, if you get enough people.
It just seems like it'd be an awful lot of fun.
Right.
We've done some overnighters down at French Lick. And in all honesty, French Lick's about the same kind of drive. You know what I mean? It's about the same distance, as far as it takes you about the same amount of time to get to French Lick as it does to get down to Marengo.
It's actually the route we came home, because I messed up.
Oh, is that right?
Since I took that shortcut, I was assuming that I just looped right back to 37. And it's not 37. So I left the cave and turned right, and we're going. I'm like, man, none of this looks familiar. And then we come out, and it's like 37 to the left. Like my compass inside is not saying to turn left, so I turned right, which ends up taking you to 140 or 145. 150, one of them. There's one of those roads. Which led us right through, French Lick and all that. So, and that's the spot. She really likes West Baden.
Yep.
The Carlsbad, the big hotel there. And had we gotten up earlier, we may have stopped and walked around the hotel, because it's been a while since we've been to French Lick, and that hotel is really cool to just walk around the property, to walk inside the atrium. Like, they just redid all the glass in the atrium.
Oh, wow.
Because last year, all the storms that went through southern Indiana, most of that glass was original, just single pane glass, and they had huge hailstorms down there. And it took, like, all the roof out. So, they got with a contractor that went and had all the panels individually made. So I don't think they're single pane, but they're made to look like the original windows.
Gotcha.
So it's all brand new glass in there. Like, the light is much brighter. So I really want to get down there and walk around the hotel.
I always enjoyed it because, you know, when you're inside there, like Christmas time's amazing. They have the big Christmas tree down there and everything else. It's beautiful. But I love walking around the, what do you call it, the concourse, whatever the outer, the outer circle before you get to the inner circle.
You got the wall, then there's like a hallway that goes all the way around, and then the outside wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in there you have all these pictures hanging up on the wall. And it's showing you when they were building it and everything else.
Right.
I mean, that was an architect nightmare. I mean, this was something that could never have been done.
That's the largest freestanding dome in the world for a long time. I think it just lost that record.
Didn't they build it in a year's time or something?
It was quick.
It was quick.
Yeah.
It was quick. Hell, we had 3 governors celebrating the finish of I-69 from Evansville to Indianapolis.
Took 25 years.
25 years. We got her done under budget and before we thought. We got it done so quick. It's like, dear God, you guys made 8 miles a year.
Right?
It's like, holy crap.
Just Bloomington to Martinsville was, what?
That was
maybe 100 yards per year.
I was going to say,
what is not
it, like
very much.
8 years to get from Bloomington to Martinsville? Dear Lord.
Yeah.
And there was nothing there.
There was no stoplights. There was only 2 stoplights to take out. NDOT does a very good job.
NDOT's wonderful. All 3 of our governors were fantastic. Love them all.
This thing's getting off the rails quick.
Yeah. Oh, just wait. I got some questions for you.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we ain't even come close to the rails yet. But that's something I really want to do. I want to do an overnighter. Like I said, I don't want 200 motorcycles going down.
I don't think they could. Well, I mean, they could handle 200 motorcycles in the parking lot, but I don't think the campground's big enough for that.
Right. But for me, a dozen bikes.
Yeah.
You know, or even a dozen people. 6 bikes is to me, 6 bikes is ideal to be traveling in. You can generally get through your places. I'm not big on blocking intersections. I'm really not. Now, when we do certain rides, the Steel Horse Thunder Posse ride.
Right.
When I have a cop in front of me with his lights flashing.
Makes a big difference.
Or if I have a fire chief in front of me with their lights flashing.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. But when you just see a group of bikes and everybody's they're just blocking their own stuff and everything else, it's like, I know we get pissed when people get pissed at us, but it's like, they're just trying to get to where they're going.
Yeah.
They weren't anticipating all this.
No.
And I get it. Even when you're in a car, if you need to get somewhere and now you can't because you got all these people and they're blocking you out of the way, it pisses people off.
Right.
And I say it all the time. Alicia Burkhart, when she was doing the show with me the very first season, the last half of the first season she was, and I just remember her going, you know, we get run off the road by a smart car. And it's like, that puts it in perspective. It's like something that you and I could probably pick up and move out of the way. But when you're on a motorcycle, a smart car is bigger than you are.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know that I want to piss other people off.
Right.
You know, lights. Everybody's got these bright ass lights now.
Yes.
And they're like, you know, I turn my spotlights off because I got the 3 lights on my Road King.
Yeah.
I've always turned my spotlights off on at nighttime because it kind of blinds the other oncoming traffic.
Yeah, because the motorcycle headlights sit higher than cars,
especially
so
the
it's
spots.
Yeah.
The spots are the worst.
Yes.
And so I always just turn them off at nighttime. And then people used to tell me, oh, you need to leave those on. So I want to blind the people. Oh, screw those people. You need to keep them lights on. I was like, the last thing I want to do when I'm cruising down a road is to blind the guy that's coming right at me in a pickup truck or God forbid a dump truck or a semi truck.
Yeah.
I don't want to blind them. I want to make sure they can see exactly where I'm at and they can see exactly where they're going because I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
If we go head on, I'm losing. It's like...
Yeah, at the least, all they're going to think is it's a car with one headlight. And they're going to know there's at least a vehicle coming towards them.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to see my turn signals are going to be lit up and everything else, but it's still... I want to make sure I do not impair them.
Right.
And that's kind of how I am with the blocking. It's like... You're pissing off people, and I don't know that I want them pissed off.
And to me, a lot of the, I won't say a lot, but I know of quite a few people that organize rides on a regular basis. And that's the first thing they do. They get with each town that they know they're going to be riding through to let the police department know, hey, look, you know, even if you're not asking for them to block intersections, you're letting them know we're going to be coming through here at this time. So just know we might have 20 bikes, we might have 200 bikes, we don't know, but at least you know at this time you're going to have a group of bikes coming through your town.
And most towns are willing to accommodate you for that because they understand safety, and they're like, hey, we'll if now again, if you have something major happen and all the cops are dispersed to stuff, they don't have anybody that can go there. Same with fire departments. Fire departments are very good about doing that, going out and blocking an intersection. Well, if there's a fire, they got no choice. They're taking care of the fire. They're not going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
But I know, like the little town of Martinsville where I'm from, man, the police officers and the fire department both are fantastic about that.
Yes.
They'd much rather come out and give you an escort through town.
Yeah.
Keep everybody safe, keep everybody out of harm's way, and make it go smooth.
And it generally gets you through town faster, so you're not taking up driver's time by sitting there.
Right. So, I got on all that. But yeah.
Because you don't like blocking.
Because I don't like blocking. And so when you have 6 bikes,
better than 20.
When you have 6 bikes, you can get through intersections, you can get through everything without having to block, without having to do anything crazy. You know, 10 bikes would be probably my maximum to go down there. But if we brought, and you figure a lot of bikes are going to be 2 up.
Right.
And so that's why I was looking at it. You know, if you brought a dozen people, you know, you're going to have probably 6, 8 bikes probably.
Right.
And that would just be a fantastic, I think that would be just so much fun. And then to be able to sit afterwards and, you know, even you go do your cave tours and then you still have, you do it in the summertime where you've got, it doesn't get dark until 10 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? So you could take off and do another ride, go ride for a couple hours, come back, and then have your, then you can break out the cooler, and then you can have your beers, you have your cigars, and you sit by a fire, and you laugh and joke. And then get up in the morning and do a really nice ride home. I mean, I just think that would be absolutely wonderful.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I think bringing the Steel Horse Thunder cameras along on something like that, I think it would just make for a great episode. I think it'd make for something a lot of people would like. And I think that's some of the things where I'm at in life right now. I'm not able to take a vacation.
Right.
I can't leave. Right. I got parents that we're taking care of. So I'm not gone. I'm allowed 1 overnighter.
Right.
And that's it. I got to be back. And so to me, I'm looking around at all these different places here in Indiana. We're in central Indiana. So you go a few hours north, a few hours south, whatever, a couple hours east and west. I mean, there's a lot of cool things to do. And I think you going to these caves is just, it's like, you know what? We used to have a blast doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
Going through the caves. Now, again, I was never claustrophobic back then. I'm old and a lot fatter than I used to be. I am a tad bit claustrophobic now.
I know I get a little claustrophobic with certain things, and even with Marengo Cave, at no point did I have any of those feelings like creeping up on me or nothing. Yeah, it was. Now, you start getting into like Wolf Cave at McCormick's Creek before it collapsed.
Right.
I don't think I could do that cave now, because that one,
there's more of a tunnel than a cave.
Yeah, it was just a straight through tunnel, but I think about 3/4 of it is collapsed now, which it does look pretty cool to go see the part that's collapsed, but it's like I don't even recognize anything anymore there because of that.
Yeah, no, I know my brother went through there and he did not like it at all. I want out. I want out. We gotta wait for the people in front of us. Tell them to hurry.
Unfortunately, if you're in a cave, there's only one way out.
That's a start.
You gotta go. Once you're in, you gotta get it done.
That's my whole problem with flying.
Yeah.
You get in
I told you, we'll just get you drunk enough before you get on the plane.
I do fine in the plane until you close that damn door. It's like, shit, I'm stuck here now. I got no control over anything, and that is my issue. I don't like, first of all, I don't like sitting in a plane because I feel like I'm breathing in everybody else's crap, and it's
Yeah.
like, ugh. And then it's like, you know, you have people around you, and it's like, ugh. And then it's just, it's horrible. Not even to mention the whole ears.
Yeah.
You know, I have big issues with my ears.
Yeah.
Big issues with not being able to pop again and feeling like my eardrums are about to explode.
I'm glad I don't have that.
But
At least yet.
but I would love to do something like this. Something like Marengo Cave, something like that. Again, go a little farther down. Corden, you have Squire Boone Village.
Well, Corden itself is just a cool town.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the original state
The
capital.
old capital, yeah.
So it literally, when you go there, you almost feel like you're at a second state capital because
Right.
that's what it was set up as.
And then you do have Wyandotte Woods down there.
Mhm.
They have a lot of camping, tons of camping available.
Yeah.
And they have some pretty nice tours and stuff. So
Now, there's a lot of camping in Yellowwood, isn't there?
it's been a
Or am I-
long time since I've been in Yellowwood now.
I might be thinking of the Hoosier National Forest.
Yeah, Yellowwood's down by
Oh,
Nashville, Indiana.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been in there.
But it
I
was,
get them all confused because they're really all just one big forest, but somehow they're separate forests.
well, yeah, yeah. So anyway, how's that cigar? How you like
it
it?
is really good.
This is unusual because normally we don't smoke cigars we've never smoked before.
Right.
When we do,
And we're both
something like
smoking a
this.
cigar we've never smoked before.
No, I am not. Only because
Oh.
the one I planned on smoking
True, yes, true.
would not. I couldn't get any draw out of it, so
Yeah.
I am going back to the punch.
Actually, I think last time I did the one of the
You
Tatianas,
did.
and that was the first time I'd ever smoked that one too. That's 2 in a row now. I really
So
like
you-
this one though. I generally stick to the more mellow cigars. So once I start bringing out some of the ones like these, I start like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. But this one has been really good. It's been super smooth.
I'm a big
The
fan
flavor
of those.
is really good on it.
Big fan of those. All right, so let's get off the subject here. All right, so we're definitely gonna do a Steel Horse Thunder trip down to Marengo Cave.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we'll be able to get it in this year or not before the weather breaks. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
But we could always do a practice run just to see
Right.
what roads we'd want to take to have it mapped out.
Yeah, we'll have to map it
Because
out
there's
a
so
little
many
bit.
good roads down there.
So-
It's kind of hard to choose.
All right, so Wes,
Oh man.
Cameraman Wes, let me ask you. I just got a few questions here I want to talk about as we're finishing up our cigars,
Yeah.
finishing up our relaxing time here, drinking our beverage. Nothing big. I just a few quite random questions. Who shot JFK?
Well, as most people know, I'm a pretty big conspiracy theorist.
This is just our opinion.
Oh yeah.
This is just our opinions.
Oh, yeah.
So. how do
Well,
you-
JFK. I mean, pretty much anybody's opinion since they won't release all of the files. So
They released everything except the one that we want to find
the
out.
one we want to know because somebody's still alive. I don't know, but I know I've been watching a lot of stuff. So I again, you got to just take the internet at its face value. But recently, somebody has came out saying that it was actually the driver of the limo that shot him, and that's why.
That's why we have to wear seatbelts now. Because
No,
if he
no,
would have
no,
been
no.
wearing a seatbelt, he wouldn't have been able to spin around and shoot him.
I guess they claim because that's the trajectory that the bullet makes. That's where the magic bullet comes into
Right.
play. But this person, this person is claiming that it was the driver, and that's why. Holy cow! What's her name?
Jalen?
Yeah, Jackie. Why she is trying to get out of the car because she knew that it was the driver. Because it didn't make sense why she would be trying to get out of the car
I've
instead of
always
trying to
wondered,
grab
especially
him.
climbing over the trunk.
Yes.
I always thought the same thing. Why is she not ducking down inside the
Right.
seat? I mean, for me, that's going to be
That's
my
what makes
first
sense.
reaction.
Common sense is
Your first reaction, oh shit, I'm getting out of here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm ducking.
yeah. So when they said that, it was like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And then when you know about the history of Lee Harvey Oswald, right? Yeah.
So,
Wait, wasn't that?
so was George Bush driving the limo?
No.
Okay.
No.
Not that I would ever accuse him of doing something like that, but
Yeah, that's what I've actually. For some reason, like literally in the last few weeks, I've been getting that a lot.
is that right?
Like things that pop up on different social media platforms. Somehow, it's all this same person that's telling all about what they know.
You know, it is funny, only because, and this is not my opinion, Google searches definitely lean a certain
yes,
direction.
they do.
And
it's been proven that
they're
they do.
designed. Yes, that's what I'm saying. This is not even my opinion. This is 100% fact.
Yes,
that is 100%
they
fact.
curate Google searches.
Yes.
To purposely make sure you can't see certain things.
Right, and you do have to dig deeper and deeper
Yes.
before you can really start finding out information.
Yeah.
So, but I was just curious. I'm always curious. You know, most people will say CIA.
Right.
The vast majority of everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all know.
We all
There was more
come to
to
the
it
conclusion that it's definitely inside. Whether that's CIA, FBI, Secret Service, whatever, somebody is at fault, and it was definitely an
Right.
inside thing. But of course, none of that can be proven until every file is allowed to be released and
Yep.
investigations are allowed to take place.
Yeah, and it'll never happen.
No.
Because I think everybody knows it was an inside job.
And if that's what's in the files that are left to be,
If it says
Come
FBI,
on.
CIA, whatever,
they can't do that because that means all trust whatsoever, no matter
It's
what
lost.
party you
Exactly.
are on,
Exactly.
all trust is lost in every one of those government agencies.
I just know Trump had the opportunity to release everything, and he did not.
No.
And it's like, all right, so we all know there have been Republican presidents and
Yes.
there have been Democrat presidents that have had the opportunity
Yes.
to release, and they did
And they
not.
won't.
And that's what leads me to believe. You know, because it was always, well, you know, like we were saying, somebody's still alive,
Right.
and if there's a possibility there is
It
somebody
could be.
still alive,
I mean, yes, it was a while back, but
but I
if there's
think,
somebody young,
to me, I think
it's
it's
still-
I think it's the fact that both parties are hiding it.
yes,
It's like,
because they both work together.
it's like, okay, if both parties are saying, yeah, no, we're not going to show this, then to me, it's almost obvious at that point.
Right.
All right, well, obviously then it was an inside job,
Yes.
because you can't come out and tell the American people, yeah, CIA
Right.
took him out, FBI took him out, Secret
Right.
Service took him out.
Especially
You
the time we're living in now. There's
Right.
hardly any trust in the government anyways. And if you come out with that, and all of a
Right.
sudden there's zero trust, like, that's a case for anarchy to take place. And
Right?
we really can't have that happen.
No.
Because as Russell Crowe said, because I just watched a podcast with Russell Crowe,
Oh, yeah?
and the end of that podcast was him saying, you know, Americans that, you know, don't travel abroad. We, you know, for the most part, we have everything we need here in the U.S. We don't really need to travel abroad if we don't want to.
Right?
We have almost every kind of, if it's all about landscape and you're wanting to see certain things, we have everything here inside the 48 states,
Right.
other than a rainforest. We have everything you want to see. But as he was saying, when you're on the other side, you know, we don't understand why so many people want to come here, because we live here, we understand how the country works, we see everything every day. It's like, you know, to us, that American dream that we all grew up hearing about doesn't exist anymore. But outside the U.S., that dream is still alive
Still
everywhere.
alive. Yes.
And if America falls, the world is going to fall, because we're the last beacon of hope. And it was like when he said that, because he I know he lives here from time to time when he's filming, But his house is in Australia.
He lives in Australia. He was from New Zealand, I think, originally, and resides in Australia.
And for him to say that, and the way he said it, I mean, he was passionate, like almost to tears when he said it. And it was like, you know, all I've ever known is the U.S. I've been to Canada.
Right.
You know, been on cruises down in the Caribbean. But that's still with an American perspective. I'm not looking at it the other way. And so for him to say it from a developed country like Australia, it's like, crap. We kind of need to figure our stuff out. Because if that's really the case, you know, America's got to do better.
It's kind of scary.
Right?
Speaking of scary.
Oh, man.
What about ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts?
Another podcast.
Daniel Tosh, he's doing he does a podcast now.
Yes.
And that's his first question. He asks every guest that comes on. First question, do you believe in ghosts? So I just thought, you know what? Because I do watch his podcast.
Yes.
It's actually it's pretty good. And I know there's people like, God, I can't stand Daniel Tosh. Oh, he's such an arrogant ass.
I never could when he was on TV.
Listen, he is an arrogant ass.
Yes.
Maybe it's because I come from New York. I'm used to arrogant asses, so I don't get turned off immediately from them. But I've always said this about Tosh. This is a man, if me and him sat down and talked about anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I'm not talking about just the big ones. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about these big issues. I'm talking about anything.
Yeah.
We're going to disagree.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much on everything.
Right.
But yet, I absolutely love the guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely love him. We disagree on everything. But I do love the guy. Mainly because I can tell a lot of the stuff that he laughs at his own jokes. He laughs at, you know, when people say stuff, and he'll just say stuff just for funny's sake.
Right.
And I know a lot of times when the stuff he says, when he acts super arrogant, he's doing it because he knows it's pissing people off.
Right.
And so, but that is one question he does ask everybody.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts? I thought, you know what, I'm going to ask. While we're talking, you know, conspiracy theories and everything else.
On Halloween.
Halloween's right around the corner, so yeah. So you believe in ghosts?
That's a toss-up. Somehow a lot of podcasts I listen to here recently, that's been a big question, so I don't know if that's just a thing going around right now.
Huh.
But one of them, they were talking about it, and it's almost like generally ghosts, because I mean it's not a U.S. thing. You know, every culture talks about it. So clearly there's something there. It's not just a specific cultural thing. But generally where ghosts are found is where something horrific took place. For the most part. You know, you have other things where people say they see their, you know, seen their grandparent or parent that has passed. Stuff like that. But it seems to be, for the most part, at traumatic, horrific locations where something huge took place, something really bad took place, is where you tend to see the ghost stuff. So this person was saying, you know, they believe that the earth holds memories, and that those areas, since something traumatic or horrific took place, that memory is like at a heightened state. And then that's what that actually is. It's not a soul or a being that's, you know, to where we get to see it, but it's just that it's a memory that the earth holds, that it's an apparition or whatever you want to call that we end up seeing a different state of the earth's memory. So I was like, it's an interesting way to put it.
It is an interesting way to put it. It's very interesting.
Because I'm not really sure. I mean, growing up the way I did, you know, we were in church a lot and stuff. So it's like, my mind is very hard to think of that way. But yet, a lot of stuff that I'm learning now that I'm doing a lot of research and stuff as I've gotten older. It's like I can understand that aspect of it now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really sure where I lean on it.
Because for me, I don't know if I want to say ghosts or if I want to say spirits. To me, I again, as a Christian minister, we teach about the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Right.
Right? Or the Holy Spirit
yeah.
is what a lot of the newer translations. Mm-hmm. But it was Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And it was like, I don't know. I've seen too many things for me to believe that there aren't some kind of spirits or some kind of a, whether it's energy, whether it's whatever. Mm-hmm. I just remember way too many things taking place when I was growing up and some of the stupid stuff I got into. I just.
Which might be different than ghosts.
Well, yeah, so a lot of that was LSD.
I understand the spirit aspect of that. You know, when you're talking about spirits.
Right.
You know. You're doing stuff like that, you're probably going to see something,
right.
Whether it's a different dimension or whatever.
All right, Bigfoot, real or legend? Enough of the Holy Ghost stuff. Let's get to the real nitty gritty. Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Real.
I don't believe in Bigfoot. I wanted to for so many years. I'm like, you know, there's so many video footages, there's so much stuff. It's like I've come to the conclusion that I think at one point there was a Bigfoot and it was just a large ape that has gone extinct. There's been plenty of large primates that have went extinct, and I think that maybe even into the early 1900s there may have still been some left. But to me, that's what it is. It's just a large ape that has went extinct.
There's people weeping out there right now. They're weeping.
I know.
They're weeping.
That's just my opinion on it.
So,
I don't believe.
All right, so
some people believe that they're actually an extraterrestrial that uses some sort of. Because they're generally seen around caves. Maybe that's why I'm going to all these caves now, because I want to find it. But they believe that there's a way to get to another dimension.
I hope he punches you right in the face. You're going to walk in Marengo Cave and all of a sudden, big old hairy arm's going to come out and pop you on.
They have done some Bigfoot exploration in this area.
Oh, I know.
So, I don't know. My opinion, it's just an extinct ape. But who knows? We find animals all the time that we think.
What about the aliens? So are there aliens or are there not aliens? You think an alien's imitating Bigfoot just to mess with our minds? Oh, could you imagine being one of the top people in your society and your job is just to go out and F with people and on Earth? It's like, oh, okay, listen, these guys are so stupid. Go down there and act like Bigfoot and just keep this thing going for a while. So do you think there are aliens? You think
I'm really going to make people mad if I answer this question.
you think Area 50, what is it, Area 52?
51.
51.
There's numerous areas. 51 is just the most famous. I do know that.
I think I was thinking of the B-52 bomber when I said Area 52. Yes, Area 51.
Which, at one time, the B-52 bomber was probably what people thought was a UFO, or UAP as it is now termed. I would say that.
What would you say about E.T.? Did he phone home? Was he real? Did he really ride?
According to stuff now, he doesn't say phone home. He says home phone. It's a whole Mandela effect.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said phone home.
Does he still ride in the basket on the front of Elliot's bicycle?
Yeah. Aliens, I mean, that opens up a whole other can of worms of research for me.
Or could it
I'm not going into that
could
research.
it literally just go down the same path of, do you believe in ghosts or is it truly spirits?
Right.
And then if it's spirits, could the aliens actually be spirits.
Right.
Could they be the evil spirits? Maybe they're the fallen angels that are really messing with us.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't think this is going to be going on YouTube.
I was just curious. How you felt about these things. I mean, obviously, if you don't believe in Bigfoot, surely you don't believe in Nessie the Loch Ness Monster, then, do you?
I wanted to when I was younger for so long. But yeah. I mean, we've literally only explored 10% of the oceans. We've explored...
He was in a lake, though.
We've explored more on... Moron.
Call me a moron.
We've explored more on Mars and the Moon combined than we have our oceans.
Isn't that odd?
And that is a loose explored. But it makes you wonder NASA actually started out as a research center for the ocean. And after a couple years said, nope, we're going to the moon. So what did they find in the ocean that scared them so bad that they said, no, we need off this planet? I'm just saying. It seems odd.
What did Hitler find in 1942?
Antarctica?
And then we got all of his scientists after we took out Hitler. We took all his scientists.
Right.
We got this thing called NASA we're starting.
Yeah.
How would you like to be our?
Right.
I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, actually, that's... Us bringing the scientists here is not allegedly. That's all fact. What was it? Operation Paperclip that has all been declassified. So it is public knowledge. That's not opinion.
Okay, so, and I've always said that too. Why aren't we spending more time in the ocean?
Instead of just filling it with garbage.
Besides saying, you got plastic bottles? Throw them out here. We'll make an island. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
You'll love it. But it's, to me, I've never understood that. It's like the majority of this earth is ocean.
Yeah.
It's all water. And it's like, and again, how is water? How are we so short on water? It's like, they got machines now. We can take our crap sewer and turn it into clean drinking water.
Yeah.
And you got people in California ain't got no water. It's like you're on the freaking coast. You got nothing but the whole Pacific Ocean out there. How are you not having any water?
They're so worried about sea level rise, just start sucking it up and turning it into fresh water.
Brilliant! God, I wish I was drinking a Guinness right now. Brilliant! So
instead of taking all the water out of the desert,
yeah, right.
You don't need the water out there. There's nothing out there.
Who was the genius that decided? You know where we need to put Vegas? Let's get a city. Let's get a city that's going to take more electricity than any other city in the entire world, and let's put it in the desert.
Well,
sure, there's a river down there. We get plenty of power from that.
The only reason Vegas
the
only reason Vegas even existed was because when they built the Hoover Dam, the workers were not allowed to, because most of them, it was during the Great Depression, so they didn't even live in that area. They all flocked there because they could actually work.
Right, one of the few places you could work.
But they could not have gambling, drinking, or anything where they had the houses built, because the government built houses out there for the workers. So Las Vegas was literally built as a red light district for the workers' camp. And then
that makes sense.
And then all the, mafia and all them took over. Allegedly took over.
I'm far more afraid of that. Not that they exist or anything.
Hey, I love Vegas. I go out there pretty much every other year, so I'm fine with it. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why Vegas even exists, is because they built the Hoover Dam. They weren't allowed to drink alcohol or gamble in the camp.
Yeah.
I don't think they expected it to do what it did, because they've literally, I think they said there's only like 5% of the valley left for development. And now they're getting worried that because there's nowhere else to build houses.
Right, and everybody's
they're running
flocking
out.
there now.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, my God, if you live in California, don't plan on staying long because eventually you're going to move. And they're all moving to. They're either moving to Texas or they're moving to Las Vegas. One of the two.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I mean, California is the greatest state in our nation, and I'm just amazed at how many people are actually leaving there.
It is for geography. It's a beautiful state.
It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I've never spent any time in Southern California,
Right.
but Northern California, dear Lord, it is absolutely beautiful up there. Did you ever see that? I think it was a Netflix documentary on Murder Mountain. Speaking about the beauty of California, do you know I actually drove right through there?
I think you told me that once.
What is it?
Humboldt?
Humboldt County and all that?
I can't believe I remembered that.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was a good one.
It was a good one.
But we stopped, and I remember we were talking to people, and it was like, God, it's beautiful here, but where does everybody work? What do you do around here? And they're like, well, most people just sell weed. And I was like, oh, is it legal here too? Because back then it was legal.
Right.
I'd just come from Washington, Seattle, Washington, right? I drove down there. You were living in Seattle, came up and visited you, drove down to my mom in California, down to San Francisco, or Healdsburg and Petaluma. And we went down to those places, but still just north of San Francisco.
Right.
And it was just like, but we're traveling and we're in this Humboldt County. And they're like, did you lock your car? I'm like, we just got gas and I'm in the gas station store, right? It's like, well, no, like, you need to lock your car.
Yeah.
Do not pick up any hitchhikers around here. Do not. And it was like, and these people were serious.
Right.
Like, doesn't look that bad to me. And then eventually, it was like a couple months later, I'm watching this Murder Mountain thing, and it was like, holy shit, that's where we were at. We were right there. But it was beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful, man. Going through the big redwoods and all that stuff. My God. Unbelievable how beautiful it is out there. Yeah, I mean, California, just a few too many rules and regulations for me to be able to live out there and be happy.
And it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, definitely couldn't afford it.
I couldn't afford to live in Washington, and it's like, I think, 2.5 or 3 times cheaper than California.
Is that right?
So when I lived there for the year that we were out there, that's some of the people I went to school with for the aviation stuff. They were from California, and that's what they said. It was. They're like, it's so cheap here. I'm like, whatever. Go to the Midwest. It's cheaper there, and it's too expensive here.
Go to Indiana.
Because it's getting expensive here.
All right, so we're not exploring our oceans.
Nope.
But it was amazing what we did with the. Now I'm old, but I'm not super old, so I don't really remember the Mercury missions. I do, however. I grew up during the Apollo.
Right.
I remember watching the first Apollo ship. I remember Neil Armstrong. So let me ask you this: did we really go to the moon, or was that all staged?
In my opinion.
Here's why I asked this question.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Ronald Reagan was president? Your answer would be no, because you weren't alive yet.
Technically, yes. I was alive for his last year in office.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was born the election year.
Okay.
So I actually did get.
So he was the first president.
He was my first president. I don't remember that.
It's like me. JFK was president when I was born. But again, you know, somebody put a bullet in him when I was only a couple years old. So I don't really remember JFK. But I just remember Ronald Reagan. And he had his Star Wars.
Yes.
Right? And we had...
I just read a lot of stuff about Star Wars.
We had all that thing that we could do, and it turned out it was all a bluff. None of it existed. He just simply said that to help disarm the Soviet Union. You know, he would go to these meetings. He was like, you need to cut this back to this much, this much, this much. And they're like, well, you need to get rid of Star Wars. And he's like, we're not getting rid of Star Wars. And there was American people that were getting irritated and pissed with them and everything else. And then it turns out there was no Star Wars. We just had to put that bluff to make them think that we really had it. So if we fake that,
Yeah.
what's your outtake on the moon landing?
So it's one of those
Again,
things.
this is all about
It's all of
this
our
is, now,
opinion.
especially
It's
this
not
one.
fact.
This
Oh,
one
yeah.
is our opinion.
Yes. I would love to believe that we went to the moon.
I've rooted for it my entire life.
Would be the greatest achievement of mankind, and it would be amazing. The part that makes me believe that it was faked is the fact that nobody's went back. Yeah, we've sent rovers or whatever. Other countries have now sent rovers. But it just seems odd to me that we're like, yep, we made it. And then everybody's like, okay, we're not going to try. Like, whether somebody made it or not, it should still be your country's achievement to, get the technology, to build that technology and still go. You could say, I want to be a NASCAR driver, and then somebody else win, you're like, well, I'm not going to try anymore because they won, so. It doesn't make sense to me. And then when NASA will, and this is official record, NASA says we do not have the technology now. We've lost the technology to go to the moon. The greatest achievement of mankind. And we've somehow lost that technology.
And they say we have more technology
Yes.
with that
Yes.
cell phone
Yeah.
than they had in the 60s.
Right. I would love to believe that they really went. I think right now to talk to the astronauts on the ISS is a 3-second delay or something like that. But it was a 0 delay to talk to the moon.
That's probably my biggest problem I had.
It just seems a little weird. And I know some people have said, well, there's no way to film it because of the time, the technology. So we went, but then they staged it all, in a sound stage and all that, to actually do the live broadcast. And I can kind of buy that we actually went, but, we didn't have the technology to actually show it. You would think we did, but we had video cameras. But I'm like, okay, I can buy that we went.
A video camera that showed them leaving
I know.
the moon.
I know.
Some pretty tricky footage right there.
So I can believe that, yeah, we went and then we faked that just so that we could show everybody that we did it. But it's like, again, if we went and staged the landing afterwards just to prove that we did it, and now we should have the technology to do it with no problem, why haven't we done it again?
Yeah.
Why is the goal Mars when it's like, okay, we spent, a handful of years going to the moon with relatively little of anything? Like, we should have a space station on the moon by now.
I sat on top of my roof of my house talking with the gentleman that was putting the roof on. And this was after a few beers. We were done working. And
Yeah.
dude, I'll tell you what, I laughed and cried. I laughed so hard I was crying.
Yeah.
His whole explanation about the moon.
Yeah.
He is dead set, yes, we made it to the moon. And guess what? There's people already living up there.
Well,
And after we got back for
good
the
possibility.
5th, 6th time, driving our golf carts all around the moon and doing all this, they finally came out and they said, we're tired of this shit. Get your ass back in the ship. Get back to Earth. Do not come back here again. Them folks, the last ones landed in the ocean. They're like, we're done.
Right.
We ain't going back.
I mean,
Now, and of course, I'm laughing like crazy.
Right.
He's telling me this whole thing. It's like, it's no more far-fetched than anything else
Yeah,
that we
that's
got
true.
going.
I know another person was talking to me about it, and they were like, I'll just take it at their word from all the footage and everything they say. We win. The thing that told them we didn't make it and that it was all faked was the fact that when they came back and they were doing the press conference, None of the three guys that stepped foot on the moon smiled, said like they all were like they were forced to go up there and claim they went there, not be happy you made this huge global success to get up there and all. Like none of them smiled. It was like the saddest press conference, because I've watched that press conference a few times, and it's like, if I was the first person to set foot on the moon, I'm pretty sure I'd be grinning ear to ear getting to tell everybody about it.
Right.
So it was like, I could see that. It doesn't make sense.
That is one of them that I really root for. You know? Now, you shot my dreams about Bigfoot, because I really want Bigfoot to be around.
It'd be cool if he was. I just don't think he is.
Same as the moon landing. It's like, that's just so badass.
Right.
And you'd hate to think that it was faked.
Right.
Now, again, they say, well, you know, how can you get all these hundreds and thousands of people that worked inside there? They didn't necessarily have to know.
No.
That's the easy part.
You only have to have the top level people that actually know.
The only people that know are the astronauts.
Right.
And that's the one thing that is convincing, because you talk to some of the other astronauts that are still alive and still,
right.
You know, maybe not Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin or whatever, Buzz Lightyear even, but you know, you talk to some of the ones that went later or whatever, and they talk with such passion about it.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, well, surely they're not lying. You know what I mean? And it's like, because those people have to flat out be lying. Again, everybody that's down there in Houston or in Cape Canaveral or whatever, they saw something launch.
Yeah.
And we saw the Apollo capsules land in the ocean, and we picked the astronauts out. They were talking to somebody.
Right.
So, I mean, they have no idea.
No.
So those people can all be left in the dark. The only people, like you said, the absolute top officials and your astronauts. It's a handful of people.
Right.
I've seen some stage stuff in this country where literally it just took a handful of people that actually knew the truth, and they were able to get their propaganda bought hook, line, and sinker. So it's like, for me, I want to believe.
Yeah.
I remember as a little kid in elementary school watching.
Right.
Go, you know, class stopped.
Yeah.
And they brought in the TV, you know, the big those big TVs back in those days. TVs. And all of us kids watching them take off to go to the moon, watching them land on the moon, watching him take his first step on the moon from a camera that was outside of the capsule. But I don't know. All right.
I mean, the whole conspiracy theory of The Shining and Stanley Kubrick and all that. Do you not know that?
I know. Wendy, I'm home.
I'm pretty sure it was The Shining. Stanley Kubrick is the one that was the director of The Shining, right?
I have no idea.
I could have swore that. They claim, I mean, the conspiracy theory is that Stanley Kubrick is the one that staged the moon landing. That the government paid him to actually do all the filming and all that. It will head up the filming. And so he, in The Shining, like, I've never watched The Shining, I know.
I have.
But I get, like, the kid wears a sweatshirt that has something about the moon landing. There's certain things throughout the whole movie that is showing that it was actually staged.
Huh.
That's a conspiracy theory. He's never said anything about that.
I've never noticed any of that, but it's been 30 years since I've seen the movie.
But if you do some digging into it, it's pretty easy to find on the internet the conspiracy theory about Stanley Kubrick and the moon landing. I hope it's all real and we win. It just baffles me that nobody's thought, well, we could do that. Just because they did it doesn't mean that we can't do it.
Right.
Like, just because we put a flag on the moon doesn't mean that
just put our flag
somebody
up
else
there
can't put a flag up there. Like,
I want to go up there and put my flag up there.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. All right, man. We're going to wrap things up. Yeah. One last question.
Why am I wearing beach clothes?
No. I got one more regular question. Real question. Something that needs to be answered.
Yeah.
Flat Earth or round Earth?
I am not answering that question.
Come on. Flat Earth, round Earth.
So,
This is bar none the most entertaining. It's like, listen, I love when I got to go, like, talking with Anthony Rosano on the conference, who's down in Frankfort, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I know, I wish I could have been to that one.
This one right here, though, this is my favorite so far.
So, a lot of people
Which one do you want it to
close
be?
to me, a lot of people close to me know that I do a lot more research than I really have time for. I can see both sides of the argument. I can understand different aspects of both sides of the argument. I know if you take, growing up in church, being a Christian, if you take the Bible literally, it explains a flat earth. Not the floating disc in space that everybody sees when you type into Google flat earth. It's going to show you a disc with water flowing over the edge and all that. Not that. So I see that and I understand that aspect, even with the the moon and sun, because people are like, well, it's going to show there should be light on the entire disc if that's the case. And I've seen enough proof of that I can understand where they're getting their idea for the light and darkness to be where it is and how we could still have night. But I also believe that as a Christian, if God is the ultimate creator, the ultimate, artist, to say, he can make a round earth, a globe earth, and it would work and just not work in our human mind.
Right.
To be able to conceptualize it. Mm-hmm. So I can understand that somehow, some way, we could still be on a globe earth and somehow be upside down at the bottom of it. I think I kind of want it to be a flat earth, but I'm not really sure. Like, it's still one of those things, like, I'm a flip-flopper on flat and globe. Just because to me, more things on the flat earth side of the debate make more sense in my head. But I'm not saying that there's not a possibility that it's a globe earth. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people, it's no different to me than when they tell us, the earth is 400 million billion years old and all this and that and everything else. And they know this because, like, when you go to caves, well, it takes 100 years for 1 inch of this to grow. So if it's grown this much, la la la. It's like, okay, but what if it was formed with that already in place?
Right.
How do we know? Yeah. What about the Great Flood? Mm-hmm. Again, every religion, not just Christian religion, every religion out there has a story about the Great Flood. Mm-hmm. We have scientific evidence that, yes, there was a great massive flood at one point in time. So to me, that just always blows me away. It's like, but we don't know what this was like at the very beginning. We have no idea. How many times has this Earth been hit by massive meteors that have shook everything and changed things in an instant of time? Mm-hmm. We don't know. Same. You talk about the Bible. There was a great thing. Like, well, God is the creator of everything.
Right.
Could he create a flat Earth? Mm-hmm. Sure. Could he create a global Earth? Sure. I say it all the time when people talk about the story of Jonah. Here's how we all learned this story when we were kids in school.
Right.
Jonah got swallowed by a whale.
Right.
And 3 days later was hurled up on shore. Everybody tells you that's not a true story because a whale, it's impossible for a person to live inside the belly of a whale for 3 days.
Right.
There's the acid, the stomach acid, all the stuff. You would be just, you can't do that. But if you actually read the Bible never says whale.
No.
We kind of paraphrase it as a whale. And it makes for a great storybook as you're a kid.
Right.
The Bible actually says that Jonah was swallowed by a great what was it? A great fish designed by God
Right.
to swallow him and hold him for 3 years. Now,
Yeah.
first of all, a whale's not a fish.
3 days.
3 days. What did I say?
Years.
Oh no, 3 days. 3 years. Even God couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it could have been 3 years,
Right.
and he still could have done it. It's like, how is it you believe? Okay, so it can't happen because a person can't live inside a whale. All right. Well, first of all, it's not a whale. It's a large fish prepared by God. Okay, so it's a large fish. It's not even a whale. It's a fish. And then on top of that, it was prepared by God.
Right.
So you're telling me God can create fishes that can't swallow a person and keep them for 3 days and hurl them up? Well, if he can make one that can't do it, then obviously he can make one that can do it.
Right.
So that's always been my whole thing. It's like, you know, for me, it's like, all right, the whole moral of the story doesn't matter whether it actually happened or if you're talking figuratively.
Right.
So to me, when people start arguing about that kind of stuff, I'm like, I'm not really going to get into it. But know the facts.
Yes.
It was a large fish prepared by God
Yeah.
to swallow this man to do this one very thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, anyway.
That's what I like about the, you know, what we as Christians call the Noah's flood, you know, that flood. Every single culture, not even just religions of every culture, but just every single culture has a story, whether it's the Epic of Gilgamesh or whatever, you know, there's, every single culture has a story of a cataclysmic flood. Whether it's, you know, a large scale, just that area, or if they're saying a global flood, every single culture has that same story.
All right. We're going to wrap it up. One last question.
Yeah.
No, we're not, because I am going to ask you why you're dressed the way you're dressed. But one last thing.
Yeah.
Ice Age or global warming? Which one are we having?
I don't
Only
know.
because you know my saying. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to tell me about global warming, you know? There are people out there that believe you can't get in the sun because it'll destroy your skin and you're going to have skin cancer if you get in the sun. Wear that sunscreen, sunblock, you know? Hell, when I was growing up, it was suntan lotion. You put it on there so you can get darker. But we have a lot of people that are 100%.
Right.
This earth is going to burn up here before too long. You know, God forbid we have cows on this earth that are going to fart, right? Which, ironically, is actually one of the things the earth needs. Our atmosphere actually has to have that. It's like, that's the miracle of cattle.
Yeah.
The 3 stomachs, the way everything's done, the flatulence that comes out is actually very good for our... Anyway.
Anywho.
But when I was growing up in the 60s in school, even into the 70s, we were going into an ice age.
Right.
All scientists showed we are going into an ice age. If we don't change matters, we're all going back into an ice age.
Right.
And then somewhere along the line, they're like, you know what? Not going to be an ice age.
No.
Now we're going into global warming. Now.
Right. Well, it was that acid rain in the 80s.
Well,
because remember, there was all ice age.
I remember all about the acid in the 80s.
It was all ice age, and then all of a sudden, they got acid rain, and then it transitioned into global warming. So it must have been all that acid rain.
Okay.
All I know is...
Dude, you know that was my favorite thing to do? Doing acid. Oh, God, I was always the designated driver because I could drive while I was tripping really well. Favorite thing to do, drive through Atlanta at nighttime in the rain and turn the windshield wipers off.
Oh, my gosh.
And the water would just be rolling down your windshield and it was just the colors of all the lights in Atlanta just melted down. Oh, my God. You ain't lived.
We are not promoting for people to do acid. Do not do acid.
Only if you're in the 80s. Only in the 80s. Maybe the late 70s, but early 80s.
Oh, yeah, because it switched to cocaine in the mid to late 80s. That's why all the cars got horrible.
Yeah, right? So anyway, dude, you're dressed like you're ready to go out to an island or something. What's going on, brother?
To go to an island. In 2.5 weeks, going to one of my happy places. Going down.
Oh, I know.
Going down to Savannah. You're
You're
fireworks
talking
going
about
on
so
over
much.
there.
You're talking about so much good stuff right now. We're lit up on fire.
Yep, going down to Savannah for a week.
Is that right?
Tybee Island.
Tybee Island.
Yep.
What do you love so much about Tybee?
I mean, for the most part, generally, other than a couple of weeks out of the year, it's extremely laid back. Just go there, sit on the beach, listen to the waves. You're not going to have a ton of people around you, like some other beaches are. It's really just that. It's laid back. Growing up going there, it was just, even though there wasn't a whole lot to do for kids, just going to the beach is just, there's something about it that just calms your nerves and resets your soul.
I like it. Well, we're going to shut this thing down so you can go home and start packing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only got 2.5 weeks.
Right.
You better get
started.
on it. Better get on it. So what do you do when you're gone? How does Steel Horse Thunder continue to operate when you're not here?
I got to get everything done in advance.
All right.
We might be doing a rerun that week.
So what you're saying is, let's put the cigars out. We finished our beer. Well, you finished your cream soda. I drank my beer. We'll call it a night. Thank you so much for coming out here doing the podcast. We got a lot of problems solved. We answered a lot of questions that, I know our viewers want to know those answers.
You guys need to share this podcast because this is the only place you're getting information like this.
That's right. All right, man. Badass beer care.
Yep.
Super. Ladendorf Law. Ladendorf, Fregiato, and Bigler. The Bigler and Battler never. And if you ever need a personal injury lawyer, that's who you need to call. Don't forget about Krambos. Yep. If you're looking for custom paint on your motorcycle, or Harley Mechanics, or if you're looking for accessories, they're right there off of US 40 in the Texaco looking building, right there in the Greencastle / Manhattan, Indiana area. And then we also have Roy Rogers Heating and Air. 90 degrees today. 90 degrees today, and we're going to be back in the 90s a week from now, it looks like. But eventually, it's going to change.
Yeah.
And you probably got your air conditioner working right now. But it's time to get the heater fixed, so make sure Roy Rogers Heating and Air. And if you call Roy Rogers, mention Steel Horse Thunder, you get your first service call for free.
Nice.
So, we got all that going on and more. All right, Cameraman Wes, let's get out of here and let's figure out how we can do this overnight trip down to Marengo Cave.
Let's go.
All right.